Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our today's webinar. My name is Izzy Revach. I'm the Legal Operations Manager here at Elxis, and I'm really glad to be your host for today. Over the past few years, Greece has become one of the most attractive destinations in Europe for people considering retirement abroad. In fact, you may not know this, but Greece was recently ranked #1 country to retire in the 2026, according to International Living. With its mild climate, relaxed lifestyle, beautiful landscapes, and strong sense of community, it offers a unique combination of quality of life and long-term value. However, since you're going to be here today, deciding to retire in another country also comes with important questions. Where should you buy? What factors should you consider before choosing a location? And what does the actual process of buying and settling in Greece look like from a practical perspective? And that is why today's webinar is designed to answer. To give you an overview of how the webinar will follow, we will approach the topic in two parts. First, we will look at the key factors to consider when choosing a home for retirement in Greece. This includes lifestyle considerations, locations, accessibility, infrastructure, and long-term comfort, or the elements basically that help ensure your decision truly fits the way you want to live. And then we will move forward to the practical side of the process, how the property purchase works in Greece, the main steps involved, timelines, and some key numbers you should be aware of when planning your investment. To guide us through these two topics, we are joined today by two excellent colleagues of mine. Our first speaker, Diritze De Beer, or Di, as we call her, the Sales Department Coordinator, will walk us through the main considerations when selecting the right location and property for retirement in Greece. And then our second speaker, Lara Avons, a Regional Sales Manager in Crete, will then explain the process so you can know what to expect from a procedural perspective. After the presentations, of course, we will also leave time for questions, so please feel free to note down anything we'd like to ask along the way. Having said the above, I think we're ready to start, so let's begin. Dee, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Izzy. Let's move to the front of my presentation. Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Dee, or at least I go by Dee. I'm with Elxis at Home in Greece for a few years now. And whether you are here today because you are heading to your retirement, you're already there, maybe you're looking into it for somebody else, we're very happy to have you here, and I'll be happy to take you through the first key factors to consider when looking into retiring in Greece. Before I do this, I would like to give a quick introduction to our company, who we are, what we do, and a little bit of history. So, Elxis at Home in Greece is not a traditional real estate agency. We are a legal first, internationally oriented property company with 35 years of experience, guiding foreign buyers and sellers through the complexities of the Greek market. Our structure, services, and expertise are built specifically for international transactions. This means that we really want you to be well informed before even heading into the plane and visit some properties. We'd like you to be fully informed about all the steps that you will go through, all the specifics of the Greek property market and how things work. So our sales team, which Laura and myself are part of, are very happy to get into a personal conversation and see how we can best guide you. Of course, we also have a department for anybody selling, but that's a different topic. All right. So why do buyers choose us? We are a company with a team of 10 in-house lawyers who are very well experienced in property law. So from the beginning of your process, and specifically when looking into different specific properties, we can guide you from the start before you make any purchase decisions on the property and how a legal handover in Greece works. We have decades of experience with the National Cadastre, titles, and tax laws, meaning when you're heading to a purchase, anything that comes up in your trajectory, whether solvable or not, it is something that our legal team can fully advise you on and also come with creative solutions for any hurdles that your property transfer might face. In Greece, you need a lawyer to do a full due diligence on the property that you want to buy. And our legal department also assists in the contract drafting after the due diligence is done and the transaction management. So we'll guide you through the entire process from the down payment to the contracts, the final deed, the payment of the purchase sum, the discharge deed, registration, so on and so forth. Because we have 35 years of experience, our processes are fairly streamlined, and we try and minimize all the delays through the experiences that we had over the years. But of course, some factors are outside of our control. But again, we will leave you fully informed of what's going on your case. We offer comprehensive client support in English, Greek, Dutch, German, and French. We have colleagues that speak the different languages and a legal team that speaks, of course, very good English and Greek, obviously. And one extra benefit, if you want to buy and maybe sell in the future, we offer free legal support for those that are existing Elxis buyers who choose to resell their property in the future through us. Also, we offer support before, during, but also long after the sale, meaning you're looking to buy, you went through the buying process, that was finished successfully, and then of course you will have other questions. How about an insurance, a car, pets, so on and so forth. Of course, not all of these fall within our expertise, but with 35 years of experience, there are many things that we can help you with, or at least put you on the right track. We also have ongoing updates for you during the entire purchase process. We help you with local paperwork and registrations, and we assist with the practical issues after the completion, as mentioned. We provide fast and clear responses from your dedicated contacts. And as mentioned, there are special benefits for returning clients, including free legal support on your resale. So, what is important when choosing a home to retire in Greece? There are, of course, a number of aspects, which we will go through one by one. The first, and I think one of the most important factors for most of us, is the Greek climate. Greece offers a mild Mediterranean climate, which is one of the main reasons not only retirees, but generally buyers choose this country. Warmer winters and long periods of sunshine just make daily life a little bit easier. Number two, the walking distance to amenities. It's a much mentioned factor that buying a house has to come with easy accessibility to shops, cafes, pharmacies, and daily services to reduce the need for driving and supports an independent and comfortable lifestyle. Number three, transportation and connectivity. Not unimportant when you're trying to make your way around. A reliable transport links and airport access makes life a lot easier. Also, access to healthcare facilities. Um, Knock on wood, at some point, we all need a little bit of assistance in that field. So being close to hospitals, health centers, and specialists just provides that extra peace of mind for both routine care and unexpected needs. Of course, Greece also offers private healthcare options. Private healthcare in Greece offers faster access, usually better English speaking doctors, and reasonable costs. We will get into that maybe later. Tax benefits. Eligible foreign retirees may benefit from Greece's attractive 7% flat tax regime, supporting efficient long-term financial planning. This is a topic we will also get into later, into more detail. So, what is important, again, when choosing your home? Number 7, housing insurance. Now you have your wonderful home. You want to, of course, protect it against risks such as natural disasters, weather damage, liability, ensuring long-term security and your peace of mind. We can help you with that, as mentioned. Once your home is bought, we'll be happy to guide you on that topic as well. Number 8, practical property features. When choosing your property, you want to make sure that, of course, the outdoor space is functional for you. You have easy access or ground floor living, depending on your needs and wishes. If you want a private parking, that should be included when you drive. All of these factors contribute to daily comfort, safety, and just a relaxed lifestyle. Number 9, Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's important. The cost of living, daily expenses, utilities, and services in Greece are generally lower than in many Northern European countries. This allows retirees to maintain a comfortable lifestyle with better cost control. And number 10, community and social life. It's very important to have, your daily activities as you wish them for your next chapter in life. So living in an area with an active local or international community will help also retirees to stay socially connected, feel settled, and enjoy a balanced day-to-day life as you had planned out for yourself. Now, let's go through a few locations and see the differences there. Once again, our sales team will be very happy to have a personal conversation and zoom in a little bit more on what is important for you, for your family, for your life, and your decision making. So feel very free to contact us and we'll be happy to guide you. The first location that we chose is Crete, which is, of course, a major destination because it offers year-round living, good healthcare, international airports, strong infrastructure, pristine beaches, a variety of activities, diverse property options, reliable public services, uh, good road networks, and a balanced lifestyle that works well long term. Um, of course, we have also our team on Crete, of which Laura is a member. So our team will be very happy to discuss with you the options on Crete, as they are, of course, our absolute experts on that. Also, the Peloponnese. The Peloponnese is, of course, a huge area, but speaking from a general perspective, it has easy access from Athens, lower cost of living, balance of sea, nature, and traditional towns, year-round communities, has less seasonal living than many of the more commercial places, let's say, more space and privacy, good road connections, and a slower, authentic pace of life. So for people that are a bit more cost aware, for people that really like nature and a slower pace, the Peloponnese might just be what you are looking for. We also have our colleague Marius in the region that will be very happy to take you through the different locations on the Peloponnese and see which area might suit you best. Furthermore, the Ionian Islands, again, a very different area, different split pluses, different aspects. A few quick resume, let's say. Speaking of Kerkira, Corfu, and Lefkada, they do have year-round infrastructure, easy mainland access, good healthcare options, a milder summer climate, green landscapes, established international communities, and a relaxed but well-connected lifestyle. Again, also me and my other colleagues from sales will be happy to inform you also about the Ionian Islands, as it is also well accessible from Thessaloniki, where we are based. This was my contribution so far. I hope you enjoyed. I would like to give the floor back to Izzy so we can continue with more information.
Thank you very much, Dee, for this insightful presentation. As you have just heard, choosing where and how you want to live in Greece is really the fun part of the journey. And personally, I can confirm that options are many. Whether you prefer the island life or the charm of the mainland, there is truly something for you. The key, as Dee explained, is doing the right research and thinking carefully about the factors that matter most to you, starting from the location, lifestyle, accessibility, community, and mainly how you imagine your day-to-day life. If you take all these elements into account, you can be confident that you will find the place in Greece that fits you just right. But of course, once the dream starts to become more concrete, the next natural question is, how do you actually make it happen? And that brings us to the practical side of the journey and to Laura. The steps involved, the timeline, and the key numbers to keep in mind when purchasing a property in Greece. So, Laura, the floor is yours. So you can walk us through the practical aspects of buying a home here and what people can expect along the way.
Okay, thank you, Izzy, for the introduction. So I'm Laura. I'm part of the team on Crete. So if you decide to choose one of the areas that he mentioned, that is Crete, there's a big chance that we might meet face-to-face in Greece. To build on what Dee has mentioned, how to choose a property and where to choose a property, I will go more into the practical side of things. First of all, how will you get into Greece? As an EU citizen, you don't need a visa or a permit to get into Greece, just a valid passport or an ID. If you want to stay longer than 90 days out of 180 days, you will need some sort of permit. It is a certificate of registration for EU citizens, and you can obtain this through a local police office. If you are a non-EU citizen, you may need a visa or a residence permit, depending on your country of citizenship. And if you want to stay also longer than 90 days out of 180 days, then there's a few options for you. First of all, and the most common one, is a golden visa. For that, you must purchase a property in Greece, and this grants third country citizens and their family members a residence permit in Greece, which is renewable every 5 years, as long as you remain the owner of this property. It also allows free travel to all Schengen countries, and our office can handle the application process for this golden visa as part of our services. The minimum investment requirements to apply for this golden visa are 800,000 euros for properties in the Athens region, the Thessaloniki region, and all islands with over 3,100 residents. And all other areas in Greece, there is the minimum investment requirement, 400,000 euros. I understand that this might be a little bit too high of a budget for some people, so there is also another option for the golden visa. There's 2 exceptions to this rule that I just mentioned before, and there is a lower threshold of 250,000 euros that still qualifies for the golden visa in 2 cases. The first case is industrial or commercial buildings that will be converted into residential use, or preservable properties or monuments that will be renovated. Please note that aside from these price rules, let's say, there is other things to keep in mind to be able to apply. But if you want more information on that, you can always reach out to us. If you don't wish to invest into a property, then there's also other alternatives for you. For example, you can apply for the Financial Independence Permit, or the FIP, or you can also invest in a Greek company or startup. Like I mentioned before, we can assist with the golden visa application as it involves real estate. And for the other visa types, there are specialized offices that focus on specific permits. Then the tax benefits. This is a big reason why many people also wish to retire to Greece. Back in 2020, Greece started a new program to attract foreign pensioners to Greece. So if you shift your tax residence to Greece, you could be taxed at a flat rate of 7% for 15 years. For that, you must spend over 183 days per year in Greece. So before pursuing this 7% tax regime, there is some things you must check in your home country with a tax advisor if this makes sense in your specific situation, because I can imagine we have people from all over the world joining this webinar. So I will get into a few examples. First of all, the availability and the benefit of the 7% regime depends entirely on whether your home country has a tax treaty with Greece. So the Netherlands, for example, they have a tax treaty with Greece, which means Greece has the exclusive authority to levy taxes on pension income, and the Netherlands will then not tax this income. But this, again, varies per country. So please check with your home tax advisor what's the case for you. Aside from that, some countries, such as the United States, have rules requiring citizens to always pay taxes in their home country, regardless of their residency. So if you will still be taxed in your home country as well, this Greek 7% tax regime may not provide significant benefits in your case. Aside from that, also important to keep in mind is, in order to qualify, you must not have been a tax resident in Greece for at least 5 years out of the previous 6 calendar years before you apply. So to recap a little bit everything that I've said, a key question that must be answered with your home country tax advisor is, does your country have a tax treaty with Greece? And aside from that, within that treaty, is there a distinction made between a civil servant pension and a private pension? Because there's, again, some different rules. Now, to go a little bit more in depth, the 7% tax rate is only available for people coming from countries with which Greece has a tax treaty that includes a provision for exchange of information. For example, the Netherlands has this, so then you might qualify, but the Caribbean islands, they do not. To apply for the 7% tax regime, you will need a Greek tax number, or an AFIMI, as we call them here. Your pension statement with an apostille must be legalized by a notary. Your application must be submitted between January 1st and March 31st of the year. You must obtain a certificate of registration for EU citizens or a residence permit. This is what we mentioned before. This is because you'll be staying longer than 90 days out of 180 days, because in the whole year you will need to stay more than 183 days. Then the full registration in Greece is necessary and deregistration in your home country. So aside from that, what is also really interesting to know is that not just your pension, but also other income may be taxed at the 7% rate under this regime. But not all income is covered and not all income is qualified. So this must be verified on a case-by-case basis. If you want to apply for this, there's two professionals that you need. First, you need an advisor in your country of departure who knows the local regulation and can guide you in the process. And you will need an advisor in Greece who can handle the registration and the application process for you. We always advise you to have your specific situation reviewed by a qualified tax professional in both countries once your plans become more concrete. So don't just solely rely on information you find online or nowadays by ChatGPT, because tax situations are highly individual and regulations also change often in Greece. So that was a lot, I know, it's a lot of information. We also have a blog about this, so if you wish to read about it, you can always contact us and we can send it to you. So let's get into the next thing. The next topics, they're not so much information, so we can take it a little bit more easy. So we mentioned before, the Greek tax number is necessary for the 7% tax benefit, but it's also necessary for other things. First of all, if you want to buy a property in Greece, you will need a Greek tax number. As well, if you want to open a bank account. A side note on the bank account, you don't need a bank account to purchase a property in Greece, so this is separate. If you want to apply for a residence permit, then you again will need a Greek tax number. And of course, if you need to file taxes, you need a Greek tax number as well. This AFIMI or Greek tax number is valid for your whole life, and we arrange this as part of our legal services. So if you purchase a property, this is included as well. Then there are some additional costs you need to keep in mind when you buy a house in Greece. The transfer tax, this is due when you sign the purchase deed or before you sign the purchase deed with a notary. And it is 3.09% of the purchase price of the property or its taxable value, whichever is higher. And nowadays, it's almost always the case that the price of the home is higher, the purchase price is higher than the taxable value. The notary fee, it's not possible to calculate this exactly beforehand because this depends on many factors, but it's good to estimate approximately 2.5% of the purchase price for notary fees and cadastre or land registry fees combined. A lawyer, it's not mandatory to purchase a house in Greece, not a house, and that you have a lawyer. However, it's highly recommended because you as a buyer are responsible for checking the legal status of the house. And of course, you don't want to buy the seller's debts, for example. And a lawyer typically charges 1 to 2% plus VAT of the purchase price. And if a real estate agent is involved, the commission typically ranges from 2 to 4% of the purchase price plus VAT, but this can also be higher depending on the real estate agent. That's all about the cost of buying a house in Greece. Now let's go into the cost of living in Greece. The numbers we will give you, it's just an estimation, an indication. It doesn't mean that this is exactly what you would be paying. It depends on your usage, which time of the year you will be coming, if you rent out your property or not, the size of your house, if you have a pool, like many things are involved in this. But the cost of living in Greece is generally low. First of all, if you want to have Wi-Fi, which everybody wants it, of course, it's about 20 to 35 euros per month. Then you will need water and electricity. And in the big cities, there's also gas. And these are approximately 150 to 300 euros a month for about 85 square meter property, apartment specifically. And this will change also, do you have a pool? Don't you have a pool? How well is your house insulated? Will you turn on your AC the whole day or not? All of these type of things. So let's go to the next slide. Home insurance, it's not mandatory in Greece, but it's really recommended. You want to protect your property and everything that's inside of your home. If you buy a property with a mortgage in Greece, or if you rent it out, then you will always need to have home insurance. Premiums, they can range very widely, but annually, approximately it's 150 to 1,000 euros, depending on the size of your property, its location, which coverage that you want, and when your house is built. And that was everything from my side for now. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will hand it back over to Izzy.
Thank you very much, Laura, for this clear explanation of the process. I think that one thing that has become clear from your presentation is that, as we always like to say, while the process may seem complex at first sight, with the right professional next to you, it becomes much clearer and far more stress-free for everyone. So, wrapping up, we have explored both sides of the journey today. First, the key factors to consider when choosing where and how you want to live in Greece. And of course, the practical steps involved in making that decision a reality. And now we come to the most interesting part of any webinar, your questions. I'm sure many of you, since you are here today, have been thinking about your own plans, situations, or perhaps specific locations in Greece while listening to the presentations. This is the perfect moment to bring those questions to the table. So feel free to submit your questions through the chat, and we will do our best to address as many of them as we can. So a question that has already been asked, this is for D. It concerns the healthcare facilities, and people ask how close should they realistically be to healthcare facilities when choosing a retirement home?
Okay. Of course, as mentioned, healthcare is a very important factor when choosing, especially when we get a bit older. It comes with, pains and difficulties. Greece has a good public healthcare system, I wish to mention. It's called EFKA, in case people wonder. It has good doctors, good medical services, and it's available for citizens and residents, either for free or very low cost. But of course, there's also a very good private healthcare system. This private system, of course, has better facilities and shorter waiting times. So you're also more likely to find a doctor that speaks probably good English if you wish to, properly discuss the issues that you face. Not to say that in the public system they don't speak English. Also, the experiences are quite good. As to distances, if you have a public healthcare center close to you, which is called Kendo Υγείας, or hospital, you're pretty much covered. Of course, it will be more convenient and probably less of a hassle if you have a private insurance and a private clinic closer to you. As an indication, a standard checkup with a doctor paid will cost you 40 euros. An antibiotic prescription for about a week or so will cost you €7 out of pocket. It's a personal decision. Of course, both are fine. In short, the public system is a bit more of a hassle. Private, of course, is a bit more costly, but still very affordable. That's what I have to say on that matter.
Thank you very much, Steve. This is the perfect path for me to go to the second question for Laura. Is private healthcare in Greece affordable compared to other, let's say, to Northern Europe?
I don't
Laura,
hear
excuse me,
Laura. I don't know if
we can hear you.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. So let's start again. That's a good question. There is a distinction between the monthly and the annual plans. So the monthly plans you pay each month, and the annual plans you pay once a year. And for monthly premiums, basic coverage, you could think about €50 to €150 per month. And if you want a more comprehensive coverage with more services, I would say 150 to 350 or more per month. And if you go for an annual plan, this is again information that's indicative, it's not fixed. For standard, you could think about 1,000 to even 3,000 a year. It really depends on the plan that you choose and also which company that you go with. And if you go for an international plan or a premium, it could be 3,000 to 6,000 per year, depending on limits and benefits. And there's also such a thing as family coverage, so parents and children. And these could roughly cost €500 to €1,200 per month for a broad coverage, depending, of course, on the age and the options chosen, because your age also plays a part in the prices of the healthcare, of the insurance.
Thank you very much, Laura. We have been getting a lot of questions about the legal process. So, Dee, can you give us an overview of main legal steps, especially when buying a property, when a non-EU citizen buys a property in Greece?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Izzy. That is a good question, and I think something that I wouldn't say keeps people up at night, but a very important thing to consider, as it works probably very different than in your home country. Let's start from you find a house, you see it, it's fabulous, you negotiate, you have a deal, and then what? The first thing that, as Laura mentioned, when you have a lawyer, you are supposed to research if the property is in order, and therefore you will likely hire a lawyer to help you with this, to find your way through the Greek bureaucracy and system. So what the lawyer will firstly do is an initial due diligence, a legal due diligence. Again, our office has 10 in-house lawyers specialized in property law that can assist you with this if you would like. The lawyer checks the ownership titles, first of all, and performs a thorough survey in the land registry to ensure that the property is legally in order and can actually be sold, because in some cases, the answer will be that it's not possible. Should that happen, which is not very often, the lawyer will inform you and explain you the further steps and consequences. At that point, when those checks are done, any encumbrances on the property, such as mortgages or third-party claims, are researched. So we've done the initial check, it seems okay, in order, and then we go to step 2, which is usually in most cases to sign a private purchase agreement, or PPA as we call it. This PPA spells out the terms under which the buyer and seller agree to engage in this specific transfer of the property. Once this PPA is signed, this document places the buyer and the seller under contract, and the house is usually taken off the market once the down payment is paid, of course. And that down payment in Greece is typically between 5 and 10% of the purchase price, but of course always on agreement between usually the buyer and seller's lawyer. Something that actually happens parallel to the before mentioned steps is step 3, I would say, and that is to sign a power of attorney. In order for your lawyer to be able to assist you in all the key steps, you will need to sign a notary power of attorney to buy your property in Greece. And with this POA, as we call it, your lawyer can represent you through the entire process and take any necessary actions on your behalf based on the specific mandates in the POA. So as also mentioned, your lawyer will be able to obtain a Greek tax number, the AFMI as we call it, and even sign the final contract on your behalf. This POA can be signed either at a Greek consulate in your home country, depending on where you are from, or the local notary, depending on your home country. For example, in the Netherlands or Belgium, you can do it at a local notary. And of course, a Greek notary office when you are in Greece. If you are still in Greece at the moment that you made your decision and you want to go ahead, it's very advisable to sign this POA in Greece because it's much faster and much cheaper. So that is definitely recommended. But once you get home, it can still be organized. No problem at all. Then to get this Greek tax number, the lawyer will do it, and this tax number, as mentioned, is needed for the house, for a bank account if you wish to take it, for a car. And when you have this tax number, you are also given access to TaxesNet, as we call it, which is the online tax system where you will report and pay your property taxes going forward from the moment of your purchase. Again, a bank account is not necessary, but many people, especially when they choose to live in the country, do choose to open an account. We'll be very happy to inform you of the documents that the banks usually require, so you can travel to Greece well prepared with all your translated and stamped documents. So feel free to get in touch. Then, when we are progressing, at some point, when everything is checked, we will head towards signing the final papers. For that, of course, the selling party has to do most of the preparations. The seller is required to submit a series of documents in the electronic building ID, as we call it, for the preparation of the final purchase deed by the notary. This includes documents like energy certificates, topographical diagrams, tax clearances, certificates from the municipality, ownership titles, so on and so forth. It's quite a file. But again, your lawyer will assist you with all that, and it's basically the seller's job. Once all these documents are assembled, the notary is the one to prepare a property transfer tax declaration and submits it to the tax office. In Greece, it is the buyer that pays the transfer tax. Once the transfer tax is paid and the notary gets a sign that it's completed, the final purchase deed can be signed. Of course, when we are at this stage, your lawyer will inform you, even if it is done by the lawyer, him or herself, based on your power of attorney. After signing the deed, the notary hands over a copy of the deed to the buyer's lawyer. And in our case, you will also receive an English extract, because of course it's a Greek document. Then the lawyer ensures that the copy is filled with the land registry and or Hellenic cadastre, depending on the situation in your specific area, making you formally the legal owner of your property and time to open the champagne. Also, of course, very important, one of the key steps is the payment. Usually, the buyer pays on the day of signing, especially when the transaction is between two banks in the same country, making the transfer directly visible on the seller's bank account. However, typically, there is a clause in the purchase deed that allows the buyer to pay the purchase sum within 10 working days of signing. That is also probably different than in your home country and what you are used to. In the very unlikely event that the buyer does not pay within 10 working days, the seller is entitled, provided of course that this clause is in the notary deed, to take back ownership and to keep the down payment. Again, when you have a Greek lawyer and a personal conversation, you will be explained of all these steps, and your lawyer will make sure that your best interest is protected in all of this. Once the purchase sum is transferred and credited to the seller's bank account, a notarial discharge deed will be signed, and this states that you have no further financial obligations to the selling party. Finally, after signing, the property will be registered on the buyer's E9 tax form, as we call it, for the property tax, and then that is a wrap. So that's it from my side. Easy, feel free.
Thank you, Dee. A lot of people focus on the Greek tax number. So, Laura, how long does it take to obtain a Greek tax number? And can you do it remotely?
That's a good question. Yes, you can have it done remotely. If you sign a power of attorney with a notary, so either for a lawyer or an accountant in Greece, they can handle the application for the AFIMI or the Greek tax number for you. In our legal handling, when we do the whole legal process that he just explained, it is included already in this power of attorney for the purchase of the house to apply and receive the AFIMI number. The time that this takes, usually it's a few days to a few weeks from the moment of application, depending on the tax office's workload, of course. So it could be faster or a little bit longer.
Okay, thank you. Since we are talking about time, I also would like to elaborate on someone's question about the general timeline of the process. Keep in mind that for a purchase process to be fully completed from the very beginning until you get the keys to the property, you can expect a timeline of 2 to 6 months approximately. It depends on a case-by-case basis. It depends on the readiness of the seller on the documents. What we say to clients is that realistically, a property that is ready to be sold and all documents are prepared needs, of course, less time. But of course, if other things come up, engineer documents, etc., you can expect a realistic time frame of 2 to 6 months. I saw this question a lot in the comments, so that's the reason I wanted to elaborate. Moving on, as many of our viewers today think of retiring in Greece, which means that they're going to be also not only in the summer months in the country. Which regions in Greece, Laura, are truly suitable for year-round living and not only focusing on the summertime?
First of all, it depends on the wishes of the buyer because there's different regions that could be interested all year round for some people and then maybe not for others. So it depends on your preferences. But there's a few main regions that I would like to cover. First of all, Crete, of course. I live on Crete for 8 years now. The whole year, so the winter and the summer. So Crete definitely is good to live all year round. It has a long season. So today we had again 22 degrees. So even in wintertime, we have the warm months. And it's well accessible the whole year round. In summer, there's multiple direct flights. And in wintertime, there are even a few direct flights per week to, for example, the Netherlands. And even if you don't have a direct flight to your country, an easy layover in Athens can be done, like 1.5 hour layover is enough, usually. Crete has many villages that have still restaurants, supermarkets, butchers, pharmacies, everything that you need open, but there will be a few things closed that are really focused on tourists only. And Crete is such a big island, it has so many locals that stay there the whole year. Aside from Crete, I would recommend Kalamata and Nafplion. There's really big regions there. This is a hub with many facilities and it's also very accessible. There is an airport there as well as the airport in Athens that you could drive to. It is a few hours drive, but you would not need to take a ferry, for example, to reach it. The wider Preveza area, Lefkada and Paleros, they are served by the airport, Preveza International Airport, and it's also 4 to 4.5 hours from both Athens and Thessaloniki airports. So this remains very accessible all year round too. Of course, Crete will remain the warmest area because it's so south, but in this area, it's also very nice in wintertime. Then Pilion is a summer and winter destination. It's also very well known. And Thessaloniki and Chalkidiki, there is an airport in Thessaloniki, which is very accessible the whole year round with multiple flights a day. And it's also a very nice summer spot and also nice for city trips. So because Thessaloniki, for example, is such a big city, it attracts tourism, and there's also a lot of locals the whole year. You will not have the issue like with the small islands where everything will close and you will have nothing to do in wintertime. And roads also recommended. It's also a very beautiful place as well. That's it, easy. There's of
Thank you
course
very
many
much.
nice places, but we could go on and on for a long time.
If I may add,
Thank you very much.
Thessaloniki, very good seasons. Like if you like the seasons, spring, summer, winter, then this, the more north you go, the more interesting it gets.
A very interesting question we received, and I think you are the competent one to answer this. What is the biggest mistake foreign retirees make when buying property in Greece?
Mistakes. Very interesting. We all learn from mistakes. Yes, that is a very good one. The first thing I would say, and Laura actually mentioned it, don't fully depend on internet and ChatGPT. We get a lot of questions from people that have old information. It's very important to test your knowledge from internet and ChatGPT with a professional party to make sure what you read, what you see, and what you are planning to do actually makes sense based on the current regulations, situations. Another topic, another mistake. I don't know if you could call it a mistake, but as we said, it's very important to research the area and the type of home that fit your needs and wishes. Because when you live there, you want your daily life to be as you dreamt it, to have the activities, the outdoor life, the international community maybe that you want to be a part of. If you like golf, that you have something close by. If you like tennis, so on and so forth. So it's really important to take your time, research the area, see what kind of home would fit you, so that you don't have any second thoughts or regrets later when you actually make that buying decision. So whether it's us or somebody else, find a professional that knows the places, that can guide you on what's important there, on the pros and the cons, and see which is the perfect package for you. And of course, also our sales team is very happy to help you in a personal conversation to really discuss, what you've been dreaming of, and maybe we'll have some very different tips, tricks, and ideas for you to consider regarding Greece. That is such a huge country with many beautiful islands, cities, coastlines. So do please feel free to reach out to a professional and discuss what you have in mind. Also mentioned, and I think this is one of the also very crucial things, is of course finances. It's ideally when you start your search, you have a clear picture, not only of your financial means, but also um, how that affects your entire personal situation. Because of course, you have your family, maybe your spouse, your children, so on and so forth, your business. How do any purchasing decisions affect your family financially? So speak with a Greek tax advisor for the Greek side. Also, if you wish to know more about the 7% flat tax rate situation, but also somebody in your home country that can advise you on what to do and what to not to do regarding your financial situation. So investigate any financial implications generally when starting your purchase process in Greece. One last thing, which is linking back to what we said before. Um, we always advise our clients, when you look into buying a property, don't look at the property just with the eyes of the buyer, because of course maybe you fall in love with the sunset and the blue sea and the green scenery, but at some point in time, whether you like it or not, you might consider selling that property. And when the time comes, you want that property, of course, to be sellable, and you ideally um, get a little bit of money out of your sale and not lose on that. So when you buy, look at it also from the perspective of the seller, not only, you know, in a rose-colored image. So, and when you do, of course, as we said, Elxis offers free legal guidance for sellers that bought through us in the years before. I think those are the most mistakes, as you want to call it, least things to look out for when looking into buying in Greece. Back to you, Izzy.
Thank you, Dee. A lot of questions about costs in general, Laura. So can you please walk us more in detail about the ongoing costs that retirees should expect after purchasing a property in Greece?
Yes, of course. So not only for retirees, but for everybody who wants to purchase a property in Greece, there are going to be ongoing costs that you would need to pay every month or every year to keep your property safe and nice as well. First, like we already mentioned before, you need some Wi-Fi and utilities like the water and the electricity, and you will also need home insurance, or you might need home insurance, whatever you wish to do with that. A little bit more about the home insurance, first of all, because I didn't cover it before. There are several trustworthy and well-known insurance companies that operate in Greece, and some even are international that you might know from your home country already. Some examples I wish to give you are Nationale Nederlanden, or NN, Ergo, Generali, Allianz, and Achmea, and the last one is active in Greece under the name Inter-American. So that was on insurance. We already covered the estimated costs for that. Aside from that, you also need to maintain your garden if you have one, and your pool if you have one. There are costs to maintain this. So if you wish to hire somebody to do this, if you are not going to be there the whole year, or if you just want to ease of somebody taking care of your pool and garden, and that you can just enjoy the sun and going to the beach and going for a drink, this generally costs 150 to 350 euros per month. It depends on the style, so the type of your pool, as well as the size of your pool, and the size of your garden, and how much maintenance will it need. Is it easily tiled terraces with the plants here or there, or do you have a full-on jungle that needs to be taken care of? This is gonna also influence the cost. Aside from that, there is also recurring costs in Greece for a house, and actually everywhere, to update your house and to repair some things. So as you will be using your house, some things will happen that needs some reparation. And in Greece, it's recommended to repaint pergolas and wooden items that are exposed to the sun, so that they continue to look new. Because also in Greece has so much coastline, there is a big chance that you will be close to the sea, and the salty air will not damage your wood, let's say, but you will see it. It will not look as nice if you don't update it. So it's really recommended to sand it and to give it just a nice new paint so it looks like new. So for repainting, for sanding and painting woods, and other annual upkeep that is needed, the cost can vary approximately from 1,000 to 4,000 euros per year, depending on the quality of the construction of the property, the age of the property, and also the furniture that you have. Then, a nice thing, eating out. If you are used to eating out and you want to go every day, or sometimes, on average, the cost of food, it will be around 30 euros per day per person. An average meal in a taverna or a cafe in Greece, depending on the region, of course, is 13 euros. And breakfast prices are much cheaper than lunch or dinner. Usually sometimes even a few euros. And if you're cooking at home, you can easily cut this cost in half. I think we covered almost all recurring costs. Of course, there's also property taxes called enfia. They're about 24 euros per built square meters. And inside of your electricity bill, you will also have the municipality taxes. Back to you, Izzy.
Thank you, Lara. As we are approaching the end of the webinar, one question about reselling a property. Are there any tax implications that someone should consider before reselling their property in Greece?
Yes, good question. Yes and no, because for private persons, there is no capital gains tax when selling real estate in Greece at the moment. And of course, that means that if you buy a property as a private person, you won't be asked to pay taxes in Greece if you make any profit on the sale of this property under the current legislation. Of course, do check again with your home country if any of that profit will be taxed where you live. If you purchase as a company, of course, it is seen as a profit and you will be taxed on this. So there's a different situation for a private sale and a business sale. And again, check with an accountant for financial implications in your home country. There is a very nice blog also on this. Generally, our blog provides a lot of information on the topics that we discuss, so feel free to go through that as well. And our wonderful colleague Eva also just added one. So yes, that is the answer on tax implications. For private persons, you are free.
Great, thank you very much, T. There is also a lot of questions regarding inheritance and this part of the process, which is mainly on the legal side of things. But Lara, people are asking, when they structure a purchase, what should they consider first? Should they consider children, other heirs for the future, or any other factors that you'd like to mention for this question?
Yeah, so this question is very personal and will be different on a case-by-case basis. So it's not really possible to give a general answer, but let me give you some information. This is something that, like you say, it's a legal question. Our legal department can provide assistance on this for your personal case, but there's not one size fits all. To keep in mind, the applicable law for any inheritance matter is where you have your last usual residence. And if it's more than one country that's involved, we look at where there's a stronger bond indication. But this is, again, personal. So if you have any questions about this, you can reach out to us and we can take a look at your case. It could be interesting to buy with a bare ownership and usufruct construction, so separately, making it easier later for any children and inheritance. And depending on your situation, a will in Greece or your home country can facilitate the inheritance process and can make things a little bit easier for you. And also there is a treaty, like we mentioned before already with taxes, there's a treaty against double taxation in many countries, but the heirs of an inheritance need to check this, or if you want to buy a property and want to keep the inheritance in mind, it's important to check this with an accountant in your home country as well, how this specifically works and what your situation will be, like what would be best for you in your situation.
Thank you very much, Lara. One last thing I would like to add, because we received a question about residence permits. For people watching us, for non-EU citizens watching us today, keep in mind that the rule for you is the 90 days within 180 days period. So you can stay in Greece for 90 days within 6 months, let's say 180 days. This is the general rule. If you want to stay more and be free to stay as long as you want, you need to apply for a residence permit, even if this is a golden visa through a property purchase or any other residence permits from the types that Laura presented. So yeah, I think we are ready to wrap this up. Thank you very much for both our speakers for sharing their insights today. We know that since you are here, retiring in Greece is a dream for many people, and what we would like for you to keep from today's webinar is that with the right preparation, with the right guidance, it can be a very realistic and well-structured process. It's not just about buying a property, it's about choosing a lifestyle that many people come to us searching for. We really hope that today's webinar has helped you clarify both the vision and the practical path to making your dream come true. And of course, if you still have some questions, because of course we didn't have the time to answer to every one of you, you can reach out to us and we can assist you in for your dream to come true. Thank you again for spending your part of the day with us.
One small
Sorry, Dee.
addition, Izzy, if
Yes,
you allow
of
me.
course, of course.
Maybe good to mention regarding speaking with us and getting your questions answered. At the end of this month, we will be at the second Home Expo in Utrecht, specifically 27, 28, 29. So specifically for Dutch, but also maybe Belgium and German viewers today. If you are anywhere near Utrecht, that might be a good opportunity to meet face to face. Thanks, Izzy.
Of course. Thank you, Dee. So thank you everyone again for spending part of the day with us. We hope to see you enjoying the Greek lifestyle very soon. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.